The search for the main shooter has begun, an update on the John Drake Jr. case, and a mother in a court battle.
All that and more on this episode of APSU-TV News. Welcome back to your APSU TV News. I'm London Jones.
And I'm Breanna Franklin. Police are urging residents in and around Lewiston, Maine to remain sheltered in place as the search for a suspected shooter continues. Wednesday's attack left at least 18 dead and 13 injured, according to authorities. 40-year-old Robert Card is facing an arrest warrant for 8 counts of murder, and police say he should be considered armed and dangerous. Gloria Pasmino is in Lewiston with the latest.
A Maine community left in shock.
There was shots fired outside the building after, and we just kept running and running and running.
As family members mourned the lives lost during a shooting rampage at a bowling alley and a restaurant in Lewiston, Maine.
I just wanted to be with my sister, and she was in there, and I didn't know she was her.
When you get anything that happens like this, you go empty. And there's just nothing you can do.
Wednesday's shooting and the manhunt that followed spurred shelter-in-place orders that continued into Friday.
This is a dark day for Maine.
Many are now asking if any warning signs were missed. According to a National Guard spokesman, Army Reserve officials reported the suspected shooter for behaving erratically at an Army training facility this past July. And sources say he made statements about hearing voices and wanting to shoot up a National Guard base. He was then transported to an Army hospital for medical evaluation.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of review of this and a lot of analysis. Was there something missed? Was he deemed a danger to himself or someone else?
In Lewiston, Maine, I'm Gloria Pasmino.
An intense manhunt for the son of Metro Nashville's police officer chief is over. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation says John Drake Jr. was found dead of what appeared to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The TBI says responding officers heard a muffled gunshot from an outbuilding in the area of 15th Avenue South on Tuesday night. Special agents will investigate Drake Jr.'s death. A full autopsy will be done as part of the investigation. Drake was wanted for 2 counts of first attempted degree murder in a shooting of 2 Lavergne police officers. Both officers survived.
A Clarksville mother behind bars accused of starving her 13-year-old son to death last year claims she will eventually be cleared of his murder. Cheyenne Maddox is charged with first-degree murder after her son, Kadaris Maddox, who had cerebral palsy, died of starvation. Autopsy results show Kadaris weighed 35 pounds when he died. Cheyenne Maddox, now in the Montgomery County Jail, spoke to WKRN-TV wanting to discuss the custody concerns of her other 6 children. The kids are currently in custody of the Tennessee Department of Children's Services. Cheyenne says Kadaris was the first of her 7 children and his death has been hard to cope with. Roughly a year ago, Clarksville police testified they couldn't find a blender needed to process Kadaris' food in order to feed him. Ultimately, Cheyenne says she believes she will be found innocent and charges will be dropped. A Fort Campbell soldier was killed in a motorcycle crash in Clarksville over the weekend. The crash happened on Fort Campbell Boulevard at Charlemagne Boulevard just before 2 in the afternoon on Saturday. Officers identified the victim as William Smallwood, 19, a soldier stationed at Fort Campbell. Fort Campbell Boulevard was closed to traffic for an extended period of time. The crash remains under investigation. No additional information was immediately released.
Back in February in Madison County, the 22-year-old Austin Peay State student, Tyesha Starks, was shot after an argument broke out over custody of her 1-year-old baby between the baby's father and family members. When things got intense, one of Starks' friends handed her a stun gun for protection when shots were fired. However, as reported by Newsbreak, her mom, Tarsha Harris, and her family says justice must be served. The family has protested To raise awareness of the case, Harris created a petition on change.org that has received about 4,000 signatures. They are currently trying to push towards possible legal charges. The Clarksville Police Department is attempting to locate 32-year-old Cordell Quartels at 2:26 today. He approached his girlfriend while she sat in her vehicle in Summit Heights. He kicked out the passenger side window of her vehicle and then took the car keys, went around the vehicle, drugged the victim out of the driver's seat, and drove off. The ex-girlfriend received minor injuries during the altercation as Quarles was fleeing the area. He sideswiped a motorist who was passing by at the time. The 71-year-old driver was not injured, but did have damage to her vehicle. Approximately 30 minutes later, the vehicle was located by patrol officers abandoned on Poston Street. Detectives and officers with CPD canvassed the area and determined that Quarles had fled the immediate area. Cordell Quarles is known to law enforcement as he's been charged with multiple felonies in the past. On April 19, 2023, he was granted a rehabilitation furlough while incarcerated in the Montgomery County Jail. On May 5th, an escape warrant was taken out on Quarles because he failed to return to the Montgomery County Jail after not reporting to the rehabilitation facility. At that time, his previous charges that were being tried in the circuit court were brought back up with a hold without bond order from the courts. Officers secured several warrants for Quarles' arrest after today's criminal activity, including reckless driving and carjacking. His bond for these charges were set at $50,000, and there are other pending charges. Quarles is homeless, and officers believe he might be in the Lincoln Homes area. If you see Mr. Quarles, please call 911 immediately and wait for an officer. Do not attempt to approach.
The search is on for a man wanted in a stabbing at Ramblewood Apartments off Highway 4813, just south of Clarksville. Montgomery County Sheriff's deputies say it happens at 2400 Ramblewood Drive on Tuesday. A man was stabbed in the outside breezeway. The attacker has not been identified and is only described as a white man with a beard. The motive is unknown, but it is believed to have stemmed from an argument and is an isolated incident. The victim has been transported to the hospital and is in stable condition. Anyone with any information of this incident is asked to call 911. Stay tuned with what we have after this break.
Yo, camping buddy. Okay, you guys ready?
Dude, I thought you were driving.
I thought you were driving.
Oh, I never said I was driving.
I definitely can't drive.
Okay.
If you're high, just don't drive. It's illegal everywhere. If you feel different, you drive different.
After you joined our family, it was like, I really do feel complete now.
You're not gonna get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff.
Mama!
Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Welcome back. Clarksville police need your help finding a man accused of passing fake money in Facebook Marketplace sales. Officers say they are looking for 30-year-old LaQuinton Tillman, who has made several fraudulent purchases using counterfeit cash on Facebook Marketplace. Clarksville Now spoke with CPD spokesman Officer Scott Boonman, who says Tillman would meet the people in the Colbat Drive area and then quickly leave the scene before they could come to the realization that the money given to them was fake. Anyone with information is asked to call 911 or Detective Neal at 931-648-0656 at extension 5538. Police in East Tennessee are searching for a child pornography suspect who broke out of a prison's transport van on the way to a hearing. Officers say 51-year-old Sean Williams is charged with numerous drug and child pornography offenses. Williams smashed one of the van's windows in Greenville as he was being transported to a hearing. The Knoxville News Sentinel spoke with the Laurel County jailer, who says the inmate used parts of the van's headrest to free himself from his hand restraints. Williams was last seen blooded while knocking on the door of a house in Greenville and asked to use the phone.
A man arrested Monday is charged with buying a car in Clarksville with counterfeit money. The Metro Nashville Police Department says officers were called in response to a stolen vehicle after the seller had been given counterfeit $100 bills. Police say the fake bills were seized at the originating report location in Evansville, Indiana. Officers located the suspect, Austin Henry, who claimed he'd bought the car and had the keys and the title. Police say when Henry was being handcuffed, he tried to shut off his phone. Officers found a key to a hotel room in his pocket. Police went inside and they say they found freshly cut paper on the floor, electronics, a printer, print cartridges, high-quality textured paper, a paper cutting tool, crumpled up money on the bed, and several $100 bills behind the printer. Stick around with us for a bit to find out what's happening around the political corner.
Wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you as you bring our colorful stories to the world.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
You want change. You want a community that supports you. You want the knowledge it takes to make a difference in this world. It's time to be more. It's time to be better. It's time to grow. The world you want to see starts with you. The life you want begins at Austin Peay State University. Learn more at apsu.edu.
My Shiro doesn't always wear a cape, but she always has time for a hug, a smile, for going the extra mile. My Shiro stretches every dollar, puts in long hours, puts others first. But now it's your time, Mom. When you're ready to retire, we want you to be able to enjoy it. It's time to start saving now. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Visit aceyourretirement.org/Shiro.
Do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Welcome back to the Political Corner. I'm Jazmin Logan. The Israeli Defense Forces have conducted what they called targeted raids inside Gaza. It happened as a rocket fired by Hamas struck a building in Tel Aviv. Meanwhile, Palestinians continue to report Israeli bombardments and killings. CNN's Rafael Ramos reports from Tel Aviv.
A rocket fired by Hamas struck a building earlier today here in Tel Aviv. Paramedics and emergency staff are treating several individuals who were injured in the bombing. Officials said a 20-year-old man suffered head and limb injuries and was being treated in the hospital. Others suffered mild injuries. And this is happening just hours after the Israel Defense Forces just confirmed that for a second night they have conducted what they call targeted raids inside Gaza before withdrawing. This was the fourth raid into Gaza since the beginning of the war. The Israeli military has published images about the raid showing tanks and armored vehicles moving on a road near agricultural land. Those images also show strikes on buildings and open areas. In a statement, the IDF said that this particular raid was meant to target Hamas infrastructure, including anti-tank missiles, launch sites, military command and control centers, as well as Hamas militants. And as this is happening, the international community continues to urge restraint. During a meeting in Brussels Thursday, European Union leaders called for a pause in the Israel-Hamas conflict to allow humanitarian aid to reach Gaza. They would like to open humanitarian corridors and what they called a continued, rapid, safe, and unhindered humanitarian access to Gaza. They stopped short of calling for a ceasefire, something that was previously ruled out by several European leaders. The Palestine Red Crescent Society said 12 aid trucks entered Gaza through the Rafah border crossing with Egypt Thursday, carrying water, food, medicine, and medical supplies, but no fuel. Rafael Romo, CNN, Tel Aviv, Israel.
After 3 weeks of gridlock, a swell of momentum behind Republicans' fourth pick for House Speaker. Karen Kafa is in Washington with the latest.
House Republicans with a vote Wednesday on their fourth nominee to replace Kevin McCarthy as Speaker.
Today is the day that House Republicans will humbly look in our hearts and elect Mike Johnson as Speaker of the People's House.
And this time, closing the deal.
The challenge before us is great, but the time for action is now, and I will not let you down.
Late Tuesday, Louisiana Republican Mike Johnson emerged as the latest pick to wield the gavel after a wild day that saw House Majority Whip Tom Emmer win the nomination and hours later drop his bid, lacking support to win a floor vote. Johnson, an attorney with a focus on constitutional law, was first elected to the House in 2016, serving on the House Judiciary and Armed Services Committees.
Mike Johnson is a good man, and I think as you saw last night, that we are ready for a leader.
He's a tremendous congressman.
An ally of former President Donald Trump, Johnson was a key congressional figure in failed efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election. House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries critical of Johnson's record, but open to finding ways to work together.
All Mike Johnson will need to do is to meet us in a bipartisan way, in that fashion, and we'll be able to work together whenever and wherever possible.
Members of both parties eager to get back to work.
We need to get after the mission, and I feel excited that Mike Johnson's the guy that can bring us together and get us back focused on what we said we would do.
In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
President Biden, Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries, and the newly elected Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, had a meeting in the White House. They discussed Biden's plan to put $106 billion towards helping our allies, Israel and Ukraine, as well as other necessary improvements to our national security. Johnson agreed to approve $14.5 billion in financial assistance to Israel. However, he wants more information on the plan for Ukraine before moving forward. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi is meeting with U.S. government officials in the hopes of strengthening foreign relations. One of these meetings could include discussion with President Biden. Wang believes that through open discussions, common ground can be established. If things go well, President Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping might have a meeting of their own. The Pentagon authorized airstrikes on 2 places in eastern Syria, reportedly in retaliation for attacks on U.S. military forces. These locations were linked to Iran's military, who is believed to be responsible for the attacks. The U.S. government does not want tensions to rise, but will continue to defend American forces as necessary. Well, that's all I have for you guys today. Stay tuned for the weather.
Wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you as you bring our colorful stories to the world.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
You want change. You want a community that supports you. You want the knowledge it takes to make a difference in this world. It's time to be more. It's time to be better. It's time to grow. The world you want to see starts with you. The life you want begins at Austin Peay State University. Learn more at apsu.edu.
Thanks for sticking with us for the weather. I'm Dekylan Fields. As we look in today, as we can see, as the cold fronts and the warm fronts down south and the cold fronts up north is probably going to give us a little bit of trouble with the weather. As we look, and we're going to take a look first as New York. New York is 78 with a chance of rain. As we take a look at also Atlanta, 78 with partly cloudy. And Dallas, 82 with a small chance of rain. Then we take a look at Denver. Denver is 52. And as we take a look at LA is 73 and Seattle 51. And we take a look at the current temperature of the day. As we look, it's going to be 69, partly cloudy, and be sure to bring them raincoats out because it's going to be a little bit drizzle. And as we looking for, That's all for the weather today. For your local and national weather, APSU will be returning right after this with the sports.
My Shiro doesn't always wear a cape, but she always has time for a hug, a smile, for going the extra mile. My Shiro stretches every dollar, puts in long hours, puts others first. But now it's your time, Mom. When you're ready to retire, we want you to be able to enjoy it. It's time to start saving now. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Visit aceyourretirement.org/Shiro.
Wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you as you bring our colorful stories to the world.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
Hey Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Welcome back, Govs, to All Things Austin Peay Sports. I'm Madalyn Stubblefield. Happy homecoming week. Not only have there been fun homecoming festivities on campus, but things have been exciting with our athletic teams as well. Let's get into one of our most exciting stories of the week. As mentioned last week, the ladies went down the road to Lipscomb Saturday. They lost 0-4, but don't fret, the ladies still pulled off an amazing opportunity. For the first time in program history, the Govs are headed to the ASUN Women's Soccer Championship. They began the first round in the Sunshine State yesterday against Kennesaw State. Not only did they begin the first round, but they will be advancing to the ASUN quarterfinals. The Govs beat Kennesaw State with the penalty kick. This is the first time in almost a decade that the soccer team has had a postseason win. All these ladies deserve a shout out for this victory last night, but two in particular should be mentioned. The freshman and junior goalies were a dynamic duo, allowing stops to be made during game play, but as well in the penalty shootout. Great job, ladies. We look forward to seeing more history be made and the season continue. The Govs will look to play Florida Gulf Coast on Sunday. You got this. Now, let's get into our women's volleyball team, who started the second half of their season with a win and a loss last weekend at home. The girls won against Queens 3-0, where Michaela Powell and Kelsey Mead led the Govs to victory. Then the Govs turned around and lost 0-3 to Kennesaw State the next day. This time, though, Maggie Keenan led the Govs as well as, once again, Kelsey Mead. The Govs will look to be on the road today and tomorrow to start a winning streak as they take on Eastern Kentucky and Bellarmine. Good luck, ladies. It is homecoming, as we have mentioned here in Stashville, so let's get into the action we have been seeing all year, but we'll also see Saturday from the football team. The Govs were on the road last Saturday as they took on Southern Utah. This game went into double overtime with a victorious win of 48-45. These guys had a lot going against them as they were in a different altitude and time zone, which tends to cause most on-the-road teams trouble, but not the Govs. The first half was not the typical mentality we see from Walden or this team, as Southern Utah scored the first touchdown of the evening, and the Govs went into the half down by 2 touchdowns, with the only 2 touchdowns of the first half being from Javon Jackson and Cam Thomas. Don't worry, though, things would soon start to change in this game. Guys, I don't know what was said at halftime, but the Govs came out with a new spark, and like the team we have seen all year. Mike DeLillo would get the momentum started as he would run into the end zone to allow us to catch back up. This momentum would then allow Javon Jackson once again in the end zone to get the Govs back in the game. This team is not used to going into the fourth quarter down, but that did not stop them as the ball kept rolling for the Govs. Trey Shackelford would receive a pass from Trey Goodman to truly start the magic in the fourth quarter to tie the game 35-35. But then following with little time left on the clock was another run from Mike DeLillo to allow us the lead for the first time in the second half of the game. However, Southern Utah would come back at the last minute to tie the game, yet again causing the overtime to begin. The Govs defense is at credit in this double overtime win. The only scoring from Southern Utah would come from a 42-yard field goal in overtime, which gave us the advantage to allow Trey Goodman and Mike DeLillo to end the night off with a touchdown to secure the win. The memories of this road trip are still in mind, but Coach Walden said it was time to forget that and on to the next, which is this Saturday for homecoming against North Alabama with kickoff at 3 p.m. These guys have a lot on their shoulders. This win would allow the Govs to have a 5-game winning streak as well as be undefeated in the UAC Conference so far this season. Best of luck, Govs. That's all the time we have this week for all things Austin Peay sports here in Stashville. Just a reminder to go out and support your Govs. A schedule of all the athletic teams can be found on the Let's Go Peay social media and website. Have a great week. And like always, I am Madalyn Stubblefield saying let's go Peay.
When you look at the number of disasters in the U.S., chances are every area will deal with some kind of emergency in the next decade. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzz and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So yeah, I know, that's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
You're not gonna get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right seat. You're not gonna get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff.
Mama!
Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right seat.
After you joined our family, it was like, I really do feel complete now.
Welcome back to the news for something to mark on your calendar. You can enjoy lots of bacon with the famous Loveless. Check out the Bacon and Barrel on November 9th at the Loveless Barn from 6:30 to 9:30 in the evening. Your ticket will include unlimited samples of signature bacon-themed dishes and 15 whiskey samples, plus live music, fun photo ops, and more. To purchase your ticket, you can go on to 615festivals.com/bacon-and-barrel.
Join in for an afternoon of spooky fun at the City of Clarksville's 14th Annual Fright on Franklin. The family event will return on Saturday, October 28th from 3 to 6 p.m. downtown. This year's event will feature more than 60 candy booth vendors and the annual costume contest. Local businesses and organizations will be competing for the best decorated booth while handing out candy and other promotional items. To ensure the safety of the attendees, Franklin Street, North 1st Street from Strawberry Alley to Franklin Street, and the public square will be closed to traffic beginning at 7 on Saturday morning, October 28th. In order to set up for the event, Franklin Street, North 1st Street, and Public Square should be clear of vehicles by 8 a.m. on Saturday. During the event, standard parking will be available outside of the closed areas. In addition, the lower parking lot of City Hall will be open and available. If you cannot make it out for Saturday's event, APSU is hosting Ghost this Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. Ghost, or Greater Halloween Options for Safe Trick-or-Treating, is a long-standing tradition that is sponsored by the Student Government Association. It is open to the children of APSU students, faculty, and staff, and the local community. Everyone is welcome. Student clubs and organizations, as well as community organizations, will dress up, hand out candy, and have games for all the children.
So did you all attend the March Madness yesterday?
I did not have a chance
Govs
to.
Madness?
The Govs Madness,
It was
yes.
so much fun, actually. So two of my sorority sisters got to compete on the court. So.
Wow, that's amazing.
Nice.
So what is everybody's Halloween costume looking like for this year?
I'm excited for mine. I'm going as Ghostface.
Okay, I like that.
I'm doing Mafia Boss. So.
Okay. What about you, Madalyn? Do you have a costume?
I'm the Statue of Liberty.
Okay, yes, I love that. Okay, that's all the time we have for today. Make sure to follow us on Facebook at APSU-TV Clarksville and Instagram at APSU_TV. Thank you for watching your APSU News Update. And as always, let's go Peay!